Welcome back, guys, to the Uncle Gold podcast. My name is Borna Zuber, your host of the Uncle Gold podcast show. And in this video, I'm going to share 8 lessons that are, in my opinion, the most valuable out of 2021. It's been an amazing year, and I want you to have some golden nuggets to have for 2022. So let's dive right into it. Starting off with lesson number 1, it's going to be do what works. Now, I personally fall into the trap of trying different things all the time and sometimes lose focus on the most important things. But what I've learned is that I have to do the things that are the most valuable for me. And especially after a while, when you analyze yourself, you find out that some things work out better than others. I would implore you to use the 80-20 rule as well in this process. Analyze everything that you're doing, analyze everything that brought to you in the previous year, and analyze what were the most valuable points, parts, and lessons that you learned. And also look at what works specifically for you. Don't just look, oh, this person is doing that, or that person is very successful in this field. Try to look at everything that you did in the last year or in your life, and then try to figure out what are the 1 or 2 things that brought you the most value, that really worked out well for you. Try to do these things more, try to emphasize them more, and try to get a lot better at them. Which brings us to the second point, which is personal development. Now, I'm a huge fan of personal development. I have been doing it for a number of years now. People like Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, a lot of these big names that you hear online, they have excellent materials out there that you can listen to basically for free online, where they teach you how to improve your life. And I think that with everything happening in the world, you kind of always have yourself there. A lot of things may change, a lot of things may shift, as we've seen in the last few years. But if you constantly work on yourself, you will definitely in the long term get the most results out of it. You probably won't see all of the results at the same time in all of the categories, in all of the fields in life, but if you consistently work on yourself, you will get the most benefit out of that. You'll get smarter, more confident, better at the things that you do. The 80-20 rule will kind of become your normal thing that you use all the time. You will start setting goals. You will start pushing yourself and challenging yourself. And we're going to talk about a few of those tips in the later lessons. But that's a big lesson for me that I learned, that actually most of the things that I profited on in the last few years were actually on working on myself. Now, working on yourself can come in a lot of forms, and we're not going to go deep into it here in this video. I will definitely make new videos about that, and already did them in the past. But there's a big difference that you can see in people who work on themselves and people who don't. And especially in their results, what they get after like 5, 10 years or 15 years, the results are amazingly different. So I implore you, from everything that I heard and learned online, working on yourself is one of the strongest things that you can do to improve your life. Now, you might start off by reading books on how to develop your life, or personal development, or finances, or you might start listening to podcasts like this one that kind of helps you figure out how to get the gold in life, right? But don't forget your body. Don't forget the physical part of yourself. It's hard in the last few years, as everyone's been working on from their computers more and more, and then they spend time in front of their TV or their computer on their phones. Don't forget about your physical body. On number 3, we have challenge yourself physically. Now, if you're not working out or doing anything, I highly recommend you start doing something. At least go for a walk, join a gym, do some kind of a sport. All of these things can not only improve your longevity, health, things like that, but will also give you a lot more energy. If you're not doing anything, just start something. Just start basic, start small, snowball it, transfer into something better, get more intense, and maybe set one physical challenge for yourself for the year. Last year I did a big race with a friend of mine. It was 150, 60 kilometers of cycling, running, climbing a mountain, kayaking. It was amazing. We had only 2.5 months to prepare, and it was really, really hard. We weren't actually sure if we will be able to do it, but we managed it in the end, and it was amazing. One of the best experiences I had in the last few years. And there are also a lot of mental changes that come with your physical change. So not only will you have more focus, more energy, but you will also look at challenges differently. Something in your business might be a big obstacle, but after you've done a race or did a really strong physical challenge, you will look at it as something that you can work on and work around and kind of conquer with time. So having a strong physical body and being in good shape will help you in other areas of your life as well. So that's a big lesson for me from 2021. Now, I will definitely do something like that again in 2022, and I will definitely set a big challenge for myself. I already have one race in mind that's not that big, but challenging in a different way, and I also don't have that much time to prepare, so that will be challenging. But bringing us to point number 4 is, you might work on yourself, your mindset, your body, and all of that. lesson number 4 would be don't forget about money. Now, I started the year pretty bad off in regards to money. I got laid off from my job, and then I had to kind of figure out how am I going to do things. Here in Ireland, I was on this COVID payment for all the people that got laid off because of the whole COVID situation. So I kind of worked around that, but challenge yourself to learn about money as well, and not just in your job, because most people rely on their job as a steady source of income. But as we all seen in the last 2 years, a lot of things can change, a lot of things can happen, and if you don't have some kind of extra income of money or some kind of pile of cash that you're sitting on for the next few months until things change, if something goes sideways, you might need some extra cash to kind of help you along to pay for the expenses, because everything costs money, right? So you need to have it in some degree. So try to either figure out how to save more money, educate yourself on what to do with your money, or start investing, saving, talking with people more about that. And I know it can be a challenging topic for some people. Some people are really not open about talking about money, but I think that's a mindset that needs to be changed, as it can bring you brilliant results. Because if you just forget about your money, then what happens? At one point, you get struck by a bill, or you forget to pay something, or you don't have money to buy something that you really, really want. So that might be really challenging. But if you focus, let's say, once a month on your expenses, you have a sheet where you track everything, that might help you focus for the next month. And in a few months, in a few years, you really can change your financial situation for the better, which can impact all categories of your life. So that's a really strong lesson there from 2021 for me. I kind of managed to turn it around at the end of the year. Things started changing, and I'll definitely make a video about that in future podcasts. But it's not all about money, guys. I know that you're probably listening to podcasts like this because you want to figure out how to make things better and get more successful, get more money, get more freedom and things like that. But point number 5 is actually on the contrary to point number 4, which is that money shouldn't be the only focus in your life. It shouldn't be the highest priority over everything, because we're still human, right? We still need to have those emotions, and most of us want the money so we can buy things or have the freedoms that money gives us. So it's not about the money, it's the emotion and experience that we have thanks to money, right? So try to prioritize that. Point number 5 is have a passion project. Even if you don't have money, you can still have something that brings you joy, brings you happiness, creates energy for yourself in your life. Because if you're just focusing on, let's say, your job, you're gonna spend 8 hours on that. You're gonna spend the evenings thinking about tomorrow, and a lot of that can be draining, especially in these times where you're probably working remote from home or you lost your job. It's hard. If you have a passion project, if you have something that kind of pushes you forward, where you're actually gaining energy, that can skyrocket not only into a passive source of income, but a passive source of energy, right? Because when you get tired from your job, you have to kind of rest and recuperate and get the energy back. If you have a passion project that you're doing on a regular basis, you get energy from that. You look forward to it. It's easy. You don't have to waste energy on it. It gives you energy back. That's something that can change your life a lot. I know that a lot of people have millions of different hobbies that they're doing on a regular basis, playing music, playing video games, reading. It can be a lot of things. Even maybe working out or working on themselves can be a hobby. I personally have a lot of different hobbies that bring me a lot of energy, and I kind of find myself not finding enough time for all of them, But if you don't have anything, try to look at yourself and things that you enjoy. Don't prioritize money on this point. Just try to think like, all right, what's something that I really do enjoy, that really makes me happy, that's kind of bringing you fulfillment. It can be cheap, it can be expensive. I don't care what you choose or what you pick, but definitely make sure that it's something that's fulfilling you, that's making you happy, that's making you emotionally stable and satisfied, and that will bring you a lot of satisfaction in life over the long term. Now, just because you don't have an answer to all of your questions right now, that's not a bad thing. That's just the situation where you're at right now. The point number 6 is actually to learn from people that have the answers. You might ask your mom, dad, friends, brothers, sisters, whatever, but did they really achieve what you're looking for? Do they really know truly the solution to your problem? Probably not. Probably they have your best interest in mind and want to give you some good advice and help you along, but they probably haven't solved everything that you're looking for to solve. Plus their situation is different. Plus nobody is truly in your skin. So you definitely have to look for people that have achieved exactly what you want and kind of ask them for advice. If you can't ask them directly, use the power of the internet, watch what they're doing, watch how they're doing it, learn from their mistakes or their successes, right? Because as the famous saying says, success leaves clues. So some people will tell you how they did something exactly. They will show you everything that they did, and through that you can learn a tremendous amount. Plus that's like a super shortcut, because You learn how somebody did it, you can mimic the steps, you can learn from their mistakes, you can avoid the traps that they fell into, and you can maximize the thing that they did right. That can save you a lot of time, that can save you a lot of struggle, and I think they can just bring you faster to the solutions that you want. Not everybody will have the right advice for you, but just keep your mind open, because there's so many people talking about so many things. Probably one of them solved the same issue that you're having, right? So if you find the right person, they will definitely have the right solution for you. It might be a podcast, it might be a book, it might be an interview, it might be just that you meet someone who's doing the same thing as you. I would definitely start by leveraging the power of internet, because there's so many opportunities there, so many great information. You just definitely have to start using it, and make a mental note to yourself for 2022 to keep your mind open. When somebody's talking about something that might be useful, internalize it, think about it. Does this apply to me? Can I use this? Is this right? Is this wrong? And then try to make your own decisions based on that. That will propel you a lot faster into the future that you want. Now you might say, all right, I started learning from other people, I'm taking their advice, I'm putting in the work, I'm doing personal development and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos and reading books, but I'm not seeing the results. Guys, relax, take a step back, stay patient. Lesson number 7, use the power of compounding and consistency. Most of the things don't happen overnight. Somebody promising you success overnight, it's great. Most of the times it won't work. People that did it overnight, it's a huge exception. Most things that you want to get really, really good at take time. Take a lot of effort, a lot of energy, money, sweat, blood, tears, the whole shebang. And I really do believe that you will have to invest a large amount of energy and time and effort to get to the place where you want to be. Now, don't sweat it. Use the power of compounding and consistency. Work at something that you really want to be good at for a long period of time. It feels like small blips on a chart where nothing is going on, and then at one point it explodes. Why does that happen? Take, for example, trading money or a YouTube channel or a job. You don't have enough experience to accumulate and make the right decisions all the time. With more time, more energy, more experience, you get more experience. You know how to do steps a lot better, a lot faster, a lot smoother. Plus, the results are compounding. So I'll give you an example. I started working in sales like 5 or 6 years ago. Started learning a lot, watching a lot of YouTube videos, how to do something, reading books, listening to podcasts, audiobooks, all of that. And I thought, all right, I'm going to master this in the next month, and then in the next 3 months, I'm going to double my profits, right? It didn't happen. Why? I didn't have enough experience. So what did I do? I kept at it. I changed the job. I changed the company. I even moved to a different country, right? And I kept on basically accumulating experiences and knowledge to make myself better at what I'm doing. Some of the results that I'm getting right now, I began to see like only a year ago. So it's like 5 years of nothing, and then at one point you're like, this is what I was working towards, right? And then it pays off. So you can see the, end results right away, and you definitely won't have the results immediately. But if you're determined to do something, definitely stick with it. Definitely make the necessary steps that are necessary to get you there, and stay consistent. In the last few years, I started looking at consistency through my YouTube channel, and always give the example of like, all right, somebody comes to your YouTube channel, you have 3 videos, right? They watch them immediately, and then they're like, all right, is there anything else? Nope, all right, they leave the channel. But if you have like 500 videos, then they have like, oh, this is a huge library of everything that I can see and experience, and then they dive deep and watch 10, 15 videos, they come back tomorrow, and that's where you get the results. So I definitely think that consistently working towards your goals is something that will get you the compounded interest at the end. Because making, for example, in finances, making $1 million overnight, that would have to be an amazing trade that you do. But if you compound it over a few years, it's actually doable. And the last, but definitely not the least important tip and lesson from the last year is basically related to people. I'm sure that you yourself noticed in the last few years how important social relationships are for people. We're all kind of taking it for granted, and I definitely think that we're social beings. I highly recommend, as a lesson that I draw for myself in the last few years, to work on your relationships. Why? You'll get so much energy and benefits from having healthy relationships. Most people that are super successful, not just talking about business relationships and their network where they get, business deals and money and all of that, but the emotional and kind of friendship side of everything will just give you a huge benefit that you rarely get from anything else. You can't get that from your computer, right? You can't get that from anything else, right? You need people, and people are in everything, and you never know who's going to help you with what, or what relationship is going to turn into what. So make a decision for 2022 to kind of foster your relationships, whether it's a loved one, whether it's family, whether it's just a friend that you have for a few years that you might have neglected. And I know you're not probably at home scared of COVID or whatever. Send a text, call the person, schedule a Zoom meeting, just do something to keep the relationships alive and trying to nurture them. Again, the compounding effect of that, you'll probably see it after a few years when you look back. You're like, oh, we've been through so much together, and it's such a great relationship. And I think it's just amazing to learn from people, from their experiences and everything that they know. It will also give you a lot of shortcuts, a lot of knowledge that you can use for yourself, which can solve a lot of problems. Plus, you can always talk to a person, and then you relieve some of the emotional problems that you're having, and you feel better. And that's a huge bonus and plus for people. So I definitely recommend that. That's one of the main reasons why I started this podcast. I wanted to stay in touch with people that I really think that are working on their mindset, on finding the golden life, which is the main focus of this podcast. And in the next video, I will compile a video of all the lessons that all the guests from the previous podcast that I did in 2021 said and had for me and you, and it will be a great video where you'll learn about how to find the golden life, everything in one place, all the best bits. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great 2022. Make sure to subscribe to the Uncle Gold podcast, and I'll see you in the next video.